Hey everyone, this is Alan over at Cobblers Plus in Denver. Today we're going to be working on a pair of these Thorogood boots, just getting them soled and fixed up. You can see these are fairly worn out on the edges there. But we're not doing our normal repairs with these because the gentleman had requested something specific. Usually with these Thorogoods, we tend to use this Vibram 4014. Of course, in the black that would be using on this guy. It matches the thickness and the angle and everything just right. But the gentleman requested getting one of these Vibrams put on there. This is the Vibram, I can't remember the number, 1276. It's a little bit of a denser rubber. Of course, as you can see, it's much thinner, so we're actually going to be placing this over top of the original sole. We're going to be grinding everything off so that it's as smooth and as flush as possible, and of course it's going to be roughed up and then adhering this to the bottom. Now this rubber, it is of course again denser than this one is because this is a blown crepe rubber, where this is a solid piece here. Also the tread pattern, he really likes it there, because this particular tread pattern is designed to really squeeze out any kind of mud, grime, slush, snow as well, and just really works very well for construction work or outdoor work as well, even as a hiking boot too. Everyday work boot as well, it works out fairly well too. But anyways, like I said, we're just going to be sanding everything out here to a certain extent. We're not going to, of course, just sand it out, just, a couple of millimeters to get the tread off and stick it on. We actually try to make sure that we sand out the same amount of thickness right there without actually removing that entire piece completely. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're gonna take this over to our machine, sand it all out, as well as sand this out and rough it up a little bit more, because sometimes there's a few smooth spots on the bottom from the factory on Vibrams like that. But we'll see you back over at the machines then in just a few. Alright, so we're back here over again now at our machine. We're about to get over here and sand everything out. I'm just trying to angle this a little bit better for you. Alright, but this is just a 24 grit sandpaper that we're going to be using to make sure that stays nice and rough so that the adhesives tend to bind better. And yep, now when I'm sanding it, I'm going to pay attention to this worn out edge right here. It's fairly worn out, so I have to kind of keep my eye out for it if I'm going to end up having to build everything up or not. Hopefully I don't have to, but if I do, I'll just put a piece of wedge crepe material in there, build it up, and make sure it's all leveled flush nicely. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we got most of it sanded out. At this point I'm going to go ahead and go measure everything out. Also you can see that I am going to have to build up that edge there just a little bit, make sure it's all leveled. But I'll go ahead and put it on the press, check and make sure everything's all the same thickness properly, and we'll go from there. So we'll see you back in just a little bit. Alright, so we've got a wedge piece glued up on there, and now we're just going to make sure to sand everything out flush on there. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, can't see it too well on this one, but there's a little bit of a wedge there, so I've got that all on there. So at this point we're just going to go ahead and glue everything up. I won't waste your time with it, but when it's time to stick the sole together, then you guys will see me do that. So we'll see you back in just a little while then. Alright, so we're back here again. I just pulled this sole out of the oven to get it nice and warm. Now it's time to get everything stuck together. Just gonna line this up as centered as possible. There we go. Alright. And hammer everything out. Okay. I like to make sure I hammer everything down the center as much as possible first before doing anything else, because it allows any air to escape, and air pockets are not good usually on these, just because that air pocket may try to escape and, you know, leave you with a crack like that there. See, now that is the edge, of course, and we want to allow at least a couple of cracks for any other air pockets to potentially escape from when we go onto our press. So we'll move on to our press now. I'll let you see what that looks like. All right, so we're over at our press now. This is our heel piece here. It's just an attachment like that that's designed for pressing out the heel. Go ahead and slip this guy on. Now this press is able to press the sole and everything down to up to 800 pounds for each section that we're doing. Right now we're just doing the heel, then we're going to move on to from the heel point to the ball of the foot. I can adjust this just a little bit, so to the ball of the foot right there from the heel, and then afterwards we're going to do from the ball of the foot to the toe. And we like doing that separately just because it allows air to escape and also applies a bit more pressure on more concentrated spots. I'm just going to switch out my last here because I have left and rights, different sizes and shapes and everything. There's a ladies one here, for example, too, and we always try to match them up with the ones that we need it. Now, we don't need this on the press for too long. This rubber cement that we use on it, it activates fairly quick, especially under pressure and heat. Again, I pulled this out of the oven, so it's nice and warm. That piece that I put in there, it's a little wedge like that. It allows me to angle the position that I need more pressure to be applied on. Because these last are slightly curved, I need certain positions for a wedge as well. Okay. And basically done with the press. Now we're going to move on to what's called our 5-in-1 machine to press the welt area here a little bit more and cut off some of this excess. Just give it a little bit of a trim before we start to sand. So I'll meet you over there. Right. So we're now at our what's called our 5-in-1. This is kind of a very important multi-tool for cobblers. It does multiple different things and has different attachments and features to it. But right up here we have what's called our welt press. It presses everything down and kind of, you know, we're able to go through smoothly certain areas and, you know, bind this a little bit more and press it nicely. And then down here we have what's called our cutter wheel, and that allows us to trim off that excess. So we'll go ahead and get started on the welt press. And voila. So all that's pressed down. I'll just trim off some of this excess because we don't want to be standing around sanding it. The material tends to heat up quite a bit when it's being sanded if we have to work it a little too much. And heat helps activate this rubber cement, but after it's cured, it also deactivates it. So please make sure you don't leave any boots or shoes or any of your footwear in a hot car because it will deactivate. But anyways, that got most of it off. My blade is starting to get a little dull. I gotta sharpen it up. Some of these heavier treaded soles, they don't like to cut all the way through where the tread is. There we go. Just gotta at least start it. Dang it. It's just ripping on me. See, it cut most of it, but it just left just a small amount where it's still kind of stuck together. And I have to cut it off little by little because I didn't cut through with the wheel here the entire sole, because there were some spots that were going to be a little too close to cut on the wheel. There we go. So got most of it trimmed out. I'm trying to get you guys a good angle, but still a little rough, of course, and needs a lot of attention to the sanding. So at this point we're done. We're going to allow this to cure for about 20-25 minutes, maybe even closer to 30 minutes, to allow this to all cool off and cure to a point where we're able to work on it. At this point, we can't take this to our sander and sand it out because it's just going to start to peel off. This adhesive needs only about, well, technically it says 15 to 20 minutes. We'd like to do it in about closer to 20 to 30 minutes to allow this adhesive to cure long enough for us to be able to start sanding everything. And after our 24-hour curing process, it's at its strongest point and it's wearable at that point, so that you're able to wear it without any issues. But we're going to go ahead and set this aside, and we'll see you back in just a little bit at our sander then. Alright, so we're back here again. We allowed these to cool off and cure for a good little while now. Now we're going to go ahead and get everything roughly sanded up. It's the end of the day today. Actually, it's already after hours, but I have to try to get at least some of this sanded up and finish out the rest of it possibly in the morning. I might, if I'm able to get through a lot of this other stuff here that I gotta do today, I might be able to finish these up completely, so just bear with me if so. But we'll go ahead and get started and just sand this up on our rough sander to get off majority of the excess that's kind of sticking out here, and then afterwards we'll move on to our 100 grit sandpaper, smooth everything out and even everything out. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I got everything fairly sanded out now with the rougher sandpaper. Now we're going to allow this to cure while I sand out a few other things on this machine. Again, because sanding it does, of course, heat up that sole, and we don't want it to come apart on us in any form of way. So we got to sand it, allow it to cure up or cool off and everything. Now, this doesn't get hot enough to the point where it's going to come apart on us right now. It's just if we're continuously trying to sand it, then it's going to start to really heat up and then come apart. So at this point now, I'm going to go ahead and set it aside, sand out a few other things, and then that'll give it enough time to cool off, and then we'll move on to the next sander on this. Alright, so we're back here again. I did end up having to leave these last night to finish out a few other things, but give them a bit of extra time to cure better, I guess you can say. So at this point now, we're over at our next sanding belt. This is the 100 grit here, and then up here we've got what's called a numb keg. It's kind of a finisher. It helps us touch up any edges or anything like that as well. So let's go ahead and get started then. Alright, so we've got all that taken care of. It's nice and smooth at this point. Now we're gonna go ahead and just blow off all the dust, hit it on our buffer real quick just to get any extra dust that may have gotten stuck in some of the treading, anywhere else in the nooks and crannies. While I'm on there, also put a light conditioner on there, nothing too fancy, because we are just doing full soles on these, but we still like to put at least a light conditioner on them. And then we'll wrap this up then, so I'll see you back in just a little bit. All right, so we're all finished up. Got the uppers reconditioned and everything on there. Just a little bit of wax there, but yep, got the new Vibram soles on there. This is going to be a little bit more of a denser rubber than what it was originally, so it'll last a bit longer and give better traction as well. Again, like I said, I love this particular sole. The way that the tread pattern is, it just squeezes all that mud and slush and grime out instead of getting stuck to the bottom a lot. And it's perfect for hiking, for farmers, outdoor use. It's just really great tread pattern in particular. So this is always one of my favorite picks. I have a couple of pairs of boots that I have this sole on, and I definitely love it. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This kind of gives you an idea and insight of the process that it takes to do at least one version of type of sole that we can accommodate. There's a lot more types of soles that can be done, not only for this boot alone, but many other types of boots and builds and shoes. There's so many out there. So kind of gives you an idea that when you give us a call or contact us, it's hard for us to be able to give you a quote over the phone. We can give you potentially a ballpark estimate, but even then, it's one of those that ideally we still have to see in person. We can tell you that you're looking at $150 for that particular boot that you just described, and whatever you may have described. Well, when you bring it in, it could be less than that. It could be $100, or it could be over $200. So you never know. It just depends on the extent of the damage, the type of sole you end up picking, the build, and the quality of the materials used originally from the factory too. That can play a huge role in it too. I mean, dress shoes, for example, Allen Edmonds versus a Cole Haan. The Allen Edmonds are designed and built to be resoled time and time again. Makes it more cost efficient in the long run and easier for us to work with, where in a Cole Haan, we can offer one of our cheaper options of resoling, and you may get 2 sets of new soles at most out of it. After that, the soles, they might not be giving out, but that upper starts to give out. And so when you invest your money into a good pair of boots or shoes, it's well worth it in the long run. You can get a lot of different upgrades and changes to the soles, like these Thorogoods. They're not crazy expensive. I mean, we've had boots in here that are far more expensive than this, but they are built very well. They're nicely designed, so they can be resold time and time again, especially when these are broken into your foot and feel perfect and comfortable. So it's one of those things that you make the final decision. We'll give you the options, the price points, and we'll say whatever works, we'll do it. So but anyways, I thank you for watching. If you have any questions, or if you want us to take a look at your shoes, boots, belt, jacket, whatever it may be, any kind of leather goods, feel free to stop by. We're here in the Denver area. If you're not local in Denver, you're more than welcome to send us an email, give us a call. If you send us an email, pictures always help a lot more than just a regular description. And also, if you're wanting to ship it into us, you're more than welcome to do that. Just go to our website, cobblersplus.com, and under the mail and order tab, just follow the instructions on what to do. Fill out the PDF file that you print out and put in the box, ship it out, and we'll take care of it from there. Otherwise, please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll definitely be trying to make more and more videos as time goes by. Product testing and reviews, side-by-side comparisons, recommendations, and just overall process of what it takes to do different types of repairs like resoling here. And don't forget to hit that notification icon when our next videos come out. I'm still getting adjusted and used to posting videos. It takes me a little more than I hope for them. really backed up with work all the time, it seems like. But anyways, we'll just see you next time then.